This is Brother Jamal bringing you another show here on my YouTube channel. Now, what I ask you to do is to give us some feedback. You can make comments, or you can send us any questions that you may have as you get this broadcast. You can give us comments, give us questions, or give us some feedback, and we ask you to share this as many people as you can share it with. Inshallah, we ask you to, and then we ask you to subscribe to our channel, so when I come on with something new, you will get a notification to let you know that I'm on doing this. So we ask that you do this. This is maintaining justice. We're still talking about that. This is September the 5th, 2020. Maintaining justice. Now, Allah commands us. This is a commandment from Allah. We always use this as we start off talking about maintaining justice. Allah commands us, that when we judge between people, between individuals, we always 100% absolutely have to judge with fairness. When anytime we judge between people, it should be with fairness. That's the basis of our discussion and talk. It has to be the way you maintain justice is that when you judge between people, always in fairness. You know, the Holy Quran talks about how sometimes Holy Quran talks about how sometimes someone can be actually looking at you, but you can't guide them. Someone can actually be looking at them, but you can't guide them because they are blind, and even though they can't see. So if someone is looking at you and the guidance comes from Almighty Allah, but they cannot see. Someone can be looking at you, but they cannot actually see. And indeed, this is what happens when someone is looking at you and they actually cannot see. You would think maybe they could, but that's not the case. So, indeed, Allah does not wrong people. Allah never wrongs the people. Understand this. Allah never wrongs the people. In the least, Allah never wrongs the people. But what happened, the people are the ones who wrong themselves. Remember that. That's extremely important. Allah never wrongs the people at all. In least, He never wrongs the people. But it's the people who Allah knows best who wrong themselves. That's extremely important. The second thing is that it's extremely important that a person be rightfully guided. That's extremely important. In this day and time that we're living in, it's extremely important that a person be rightfully guided. Can't emphasize and can't stress that enough, that it's important that a person be rightfully guided. That's extremely important. And so, let me just say to you too that in order to maintain justice, we believe that the authorities, they came back and said that Abdi Sharif, the young brother who was missing for quite some time here in Des Moines, Iowa, they have ruled it suicide. We believe that the authorities is lying. We believe that they are in their findings and their liberation. We believe that they were lying. We believe that Abdul Sharif was murdered, and we stand firm on that. We hold firm on that, and we truly believe that he was murdered. Now, we saw a case in New York City after 18 years, Jan Master J, who was a DJ for Run DMC. After 18 years, they found out who murdered him. So a short time that Abdul Sharif went missing here in the morning hour, close almost to a year. So we do not believe that he committed suicide. We believe that someone murdered him, and that's what we hold firm to. I wanted to put that in before we get too far. I was just talking about the importance of people in this day and age and time that we're living in. It's important that people be rightfully guided. That's extremely important, because if you're not rightfully guided, then that means you're going to be wrongfully guided. If you're not rightfully guided, you're going to be wrongfully guided. That's real important. And the other thing is too, the third point I want to mention, that the warning before judgment, there is always a warning before judgment that takes place. Always there's a warning before judgment. Number one, Allah is a witness over what they do. So the people who do the wicked and the evil and the wrongdoers, Allah is a witness over what they do. Maybe they think that they don't believe that. Maybe they think not. Maybe they think that's not the case. Maybe they don't believe it. But it doesn't make any difference. Allah is a witness over what they do. The second thing is, for every community across this country, for every community, there is a messenger who has been sent to that community. And the messenger that's sent to that community, they go there to try to warn the people. They go there to try to get the people to get on the right path, to try to do what's right, to try to follow righteousness. That's the whole idea. And you see this happening in today's time. But what do the people do? They continue to be involved in wickedness. They continue to be involved in wrongdoing. So once the judgment is passed on that community, in all fairness, that's it. Once the judgment is passed on that community, that's it. It's nothing that anyone can do to stop the judgment. And so what happens is, once those messengers are sent there to call the people to righteousness, to get the people to do what's right, then once the judgment comes, everyone will suffer, everyone will be punished. See? And so, look, let us break this down. For example, all of the police killing that's going on right now across this country, every community. And so once a judgment comes up on that community, and once it passes, no one can lift that, no one can stop it, no one can do anything. And people always wonder sometimes, this is the thing that always amazes me, y'all, and this is something to really think about. You see in places nowadays where there is a calamity, there's a disaster, and there's something happened terrific, and people will always question Almighty Allah. They will question, well, why did this happen? Or why did that happen? And do people not think about the judgment that has come about on that community? And the judgment could be that the wickedness and the wrongdoers who are doing things in that community. And I say this once again, this is extremely important. When you think about the places, the community, as the Quran is talking about, when a messenger is sent to the community to warn those people, to get them to stop doing wrongdoing, stop being involved in evilness, stop being involved in wickedness. And when you think about the mass across this country, the mass police killings that have been taking place on black people. And look, think about it for a minute, y'all. I know this is something that we don't like to think about. Most times we don't relate to two. For example, you had Mike Brown, who was murdered in Ferguson, Missouri. You had George Floyd, who was murdered. You had this young black man who was shot in the back in Wisconsin. All across this country. I know I'm leaving out some names, and that's not, please forgive me on my part, but all across this country, you've had these murders that take place. Now look, do you not know that a judgment is going to come upon these places where you've had the wickedness and you had the wrongdoers to do all this stuff? Do you not know that when a messenger comes to those places, to those communities, and try to get the people to stand for what is right and be against what is wrong, don't you know that a judgment is going to come up on that place? I know people don't believe this, so they don't relate to two. When something happens, some kind of calamity comes up on that place, it's going to affect the whole community, not just the people that did it. It's going to affect the whole community, because you have people that's in those communities who would not stand up against wrongdoing, would not stand up against evil, would not stand up against wickedness. So the punishment will be for everyone. The judgment will be everyone in that community. See? And so when these situations happen, these police officers going around the country murdering black people, do you not know a judgment is going to come up on those places in those communities where they're at? See? And it could be them, it could be their families, it could be their loved ones, it could be any of them. Because the very thing that the wicked do, the very thing that the evildoers do, that same thing is going to come back as a punishment, as a judgment. It's going to come back, the very thing. And once the judgment has passed, nothing and no one will be able to rescind it. No one will be able to take it back. See? They don't know the wicked ones, the evil ones. They don't know that if the punishment of the judgment is going to come in the daytime, it's going to come at the night, it's going to come when they're sleeping, it may be coming when they're out having a good time, when they just you never know when that punishment or that judgment may come. See? And the wicked cannot imagine this kind of thing happening. But yes, it can happen. Almighty Allah can bring a judgment on those places that have been practicing wickedness, wrongdoing, and evil, and especially all across this country where the police are continuing to murder black people. Yes, a judgment will come. And I know these people don't believe it, but you know what? It doesn't make any difference whether they believe it or not, because it's going to happen. It's going to come about. See? And it could be, like I said, the evildoers, the wicked ones, the wrongdoers, they can't imagine a judgment coming up on them. It could be daytime, it could be nighttime, it could be when they sleep, it could be out at a family gathering, it could be anywhere, anytime. When Almighty Allah passes that judgment, that's it. No one can rescind it, no one can take it back, no one can stop it but Almighty Allah. So that's my message today to the wicked ones, to the evil ones, to the wrongdoers. Do not think for 1 minute. We know in so many cases where none of these police officers are getting arrested. Most time they don't even be charged. It's a lesser charge. Most time they have to really pressure to even arrest them, pressure to even bring charges. And so the wrongdoers and the wrongdoers and who supports them, when the judgment comes upon you, there will be not anything that you can do. You may get a time to repent. You may get a time to do that. But when the judgment is passed, that's it. It's a done deal. See? So I just wanted to bring you this message. Once again, if you have any comments, any questions, anything, you can put them in, and we'll try to, inshallah, we'll try to respond back to them.